Hi, I'm an artist, and today we will do line art, or more specifically, clean line art, because I think it's boring. Well, more accurately, my clean line art is boring. So I think this is a pretty common phenomenon among artists. Like when you make some amazingly pretty sketches, do the line art on top of it, and everything looks as amazingly pretty as it should be, and then you turn off the sketch layers, and then bam, horror. A disappointing horror, like the worst kind of horror. And of course, I am unproudly one of the victims of this phenomenon. I am not good at doing line art, and I haven't done any piece with line art for a very long time now. And well, except for the strawberry and the cookie recently, but those are a different type of line art, I would say, yeah. And usually I try to overcome this by doing line art with a sketchy kind of brush, like a pencil brush, like the one that you can adjust the opacity really easily. Just like in my mermaid series from 2 years ago, and it looked fine, like it was looking okay and I was able to get by with that, but I was not really the biggest fan of how messy the line art looked. And I do understand the messiness was the thing that made the line art not so boring, but I still want it to look a little bit neater without being boring, like striking a balance, So that's why today we will do some line art with this brush, the worn out G pen. And why it wasn't like the most clean looking brush out there, but it was plenty cleaner than my usual strategy, aka a pencil brush. And also, I will admit, at first I was thinking about going to the extreme of cleanness, which was using this one ink pen brush without any side pressure sensitivity. And I know, extreme, but I read somewhere online that it was something good to do if you wanted to go for the clean look. And if you want some variation in line width, you can just draw the line several times. And by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, line width is basically how thick the line art is, and the heavier the width, the more attention it will draw, because the line is thicker, so it's easier to see, that kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, my initial plans was to be going with a pen brush without any side pressure sensitivity for an extreme clean line art challenge. But when I went and tried out this brush, I was like, nah, in no way I am capable of this. So that's why I folded and chose a brush that has a lot more texture and yes, can somewhat adjust opacity and size based on pen pressure. So yeah, it wasn't like the cleanest of line after all, but this is my capacity at this point, so yeah. So that's basically why and how I decided to do this challenge for today's video. Now about the piece itself, well, since this video will be up on exactly the Lunar New Year's Eve, I thought it would be nice to do something Tết related, and Tết is Lunar New Year in Vietnamese, by the way. So that's why I went with this, well, calamansi fairy or lady kind of theme. And what is a calamansi, by the way? And it's called quất in Vietnam, and it is a very popular tree to decorate your house around Lunar New Year here. And we also, decorate the tree itself with ornaments like these kind of red lanterns, yeah, and also these rectangle piece of cloth. They are usually made of cloth, and they usually have a lot of good things written on them, like a good luck charm for the beginning of the year, that kind of thing. So a fully decked out tree will look somewhat like this. And yeah, anyway, about my idea for this drawing though, it was like a calamansi tree in a human form, like a lady, and she was trying some of the red lanterns decorations as earring, like trying to doll up for the special occasion, which is the Lunar New Year. And since I wanted to make her look like a calamansi fairy, and not like some weird human being standing in front of a tree trying out some weird earrings, I decided to put some branches and leaves inside her hair as well. Like, just try to whimsicalify. Yeah, hopefully that's understandable. Yeah, just trying to, whimsicalify the drawing a little bit more, So this was the basic idea behind the piece, and next let's talk about the process itself. And the first thing I did was doing some sketches on paper, and then when I had something I felt satisfied with, I imported it into Krita and started the layer step right away, which was, actually an organizing long process, because most of the time all I did was this. And yeah. And I know in a time-lapse form thing may not look that bad, but trust me, doing it in real time, oh my god, it was something pretty sad to look at. And why I do think it is understandable why that happened. Like, I haven't done layout like this for ages, so I understand why online they did so many Ctrl Z like that. But understanding doesn't make this reality any less painful. Like, no, it took me forever just to do one single line. And I also got quite impatient and frustrated because, things didn't go anywhere being like that. Yeah. And then the hand also gave me quite a headache as well. Originally, I did prepare a reference for the hand, but when I read it based on the reference, it just looked plainly wrong. So I decided to wing it on the spot instead, and it may or may not look weird, but at least it had the same pretty lady kind of vibe, so I gave it a pass. And also, I made the hand a lot bigger than how it was initially drawn as well. Like, it looked a lot more attractive that way, And now I know why the yaoi hand was a thing. Bigger hands for some reason do look a lot more attractive. Then next I drew the calamansi, like all the branches, leaves and fruit, and unfortunately no flower because I forgot, which my mom would highly disapprove of, by the way, because according to her standard, a good tree has to have small young leaves like the buds, fruits in both green and yellow, like the unripe and ripe, and also flowers. Has to have all of them or else it is a no-no tree. And a lot of trees had been rejected into our house because they weren't up to the standard. And unfortunately, this lady will suffer the same fate if she was in her tree form. But since she's a fairy and I also won't put her on display, everything is fine. And by the way, drawing all the leaves in really made the layout look a lot prettier and more completed. Like before the tree, the lady alone just looked kind of bland and boring. The thing I wanted to avoid the most. But adding all the leaves and fruits in really make things look great. Like, even when I turned the sketch layer off, things didn't look half bad. Even though the layout was, relatively clean. So in that regard, I think this challenge was quite a success. But we haven't done, and the agony continued. This time in the form of cleaning up the base color. So what I did was painting gray all over the piece, like over the layout, and then cleaning all the spilling part up. And it was paint. Just pure and raw paint. But at least using the lasso fill brush as an eraser did make things go by a lot faster. Still pain, but at least it was quick. But we were not done with the lasso fill yet. I still needed to use it to paint all the flat colors in, and again, paint. But using the lasso fill for this kind of task was actually quite pleasant. A lot more pleasant than using a normal hard brush. And by the way, the whole time I was doing this, I was like, should I use the colorized mask? For anybody who is confused, colorized mask is something in Krita that allows you to fill in layout with flat colors quickly. And I also did a short explaining how that works, so you can check it out here. But the reason why I didn't use it this time was because even though this layout was, cleaner than my usual ones, it was still pretty rough and there was some messy parts here and there. And the colorized mask is not the best for that kind of layout. The mask will make a lot of the edge look super rough and messy. And it happened a lot with my mermaid series, so in the end, after using the mask, I still needed to do some cleaning up afterward. Which, needless to say, I despised that process. But this time, things was different. Well, a tiny different, as in my layout this time was, somewhat cleaner than the past. So in hindsight, maybe I really should give the colorized mask a try, just to see what happened, But well, I didn't. So let's not cry over spilled milk and just get it done. So at this point, I have spent so freaking long on this piece that I thought let's just try to get the rendering part done quickly. Like, I mean, the line art was so pretty already. The simpler rendering shouldn't be too bad. So I tried to paint it quick and it looked so bad. Like, it looks so normal in a very bad and negative way. Like, there was nothing worth looking at over here kind of normal. Everything looked just so very dull. So I have to restart because good things always have to take time. Quite a lot of time and patience actually. This is something I have to remind myself like every single time I do art. And anyway, it paid off. Like, I like how the second version of her face turned out so much more. Like, why it still looked relatively simple, but in a more pleasant way. Even though I did have to add some more lines in with the G pen brush because I felt like it needed it. Like, for some reason, when there was colors in the piece, the line art became a little bit lackluster, even though it was looking so nice before with just the gray. Anyway, things look a lot more bling bling now, and I am satisfied. I also discovered a new technique as well. It was something I did on her hair, which went something like this. First, I put out some simple lighting and shading, and then blending them slightly with my usual beloved, the charcoal rock soft. And then I used the G pen and went over the whole thing with a lot of hatching, which looked like this. And I focused the most on the transitional areas, and the result was a pretty nice looking texture like this. Like subdued and quiet, but still very nice, very pleasant to look at, and I really enjoyed it. So that was why I went back to the face and added some hatching over there as well. And yeah, that's basically my rendering technique, if we can call it that, for this piece. So at the end, I spent 7 agonizingly long hours on this piece in the span of 3 days, minus all the preparation step, and along with some other stress because I wanted to get this video done as fast as possible because, as I just said, it will be Lunar New Year's Eve when this video is up. It will be very busy around those days, and the faster I get this done, the better. Well, it is what it is, I guess. Personally, I still think this challenge is somewhat of a success, and surprisingly, even though this was meant to be a challenge to reconnect with one of my art skills, like doing line art, I ended up with a piece that followed a completely different art style. Like, I don't think I have ever done something like this before. Like, it is somewhat reminiscent of my mermaids, maybe, I don't know, and I am a little bit wary because I don't think most of you guys have seen something like this from me yet. And I mean, I myself haven't seen something like this from me as well, you know. So really hope the performance of this video won't tank too bad. I pray, please. Anyway, I think the calamansi lady is done. Let's check out how she turned out, shall we? So this was the Clean Line Art Challenge, a surprisingly challenging challenge. But anyway, if you enjoy what I do here on the channel, you can consider supporting me over on Ko-fi or becoming a member here on YouTube. I am running a monthly wallpaper club on both platforms, and here is the February one. Anyway, as always, thanks a lot for watching. Really hope you enjoy the Calamansi lady, and hope you have a great day/night ahead. Happy Lunar New Year if you happen to celebrate it, and see you later.